Hey everyone, welcome back to Bachelor Happy Hour. I'm Joe.
And I'm Serena.
And we are back for part 2 with Clayton. Clayton, welcome back. Let's get into it. What is your opinion? Did you watch Grant's finale?
I was there.
He was there.
Well, I didn't know if it was
They
screened
like
the
show.
whole.
Yeah.
I forget that
They're
do
like
that.
showing it.
What was your opinion on how he handled it?
I thought he handled it well. To be honest with you, I got at one point a bit triggered during the finale because, listen, I saw both sides. I could understand where Latia was coming from, but I also, you know, thought she could have went about it a bit differently.
How so?
I think that she just really dug into him deeper than she needed to. And to me, I said I was, he was apologizing, and I'm like, yeah, he made mistakes, but like, I think you're just kicking someone when they're down. Again, my perspective, because I had felt that, somebody did that to me, on my AFR, and I wasn't, a fan of that. I'm like, listen, I'm wrong and I'm sorry, or I hurt, upset you, but I just felt like she took it a bit too far. But then again, like she did what she thought was best, and I don't I'm not holding it against her. Of course I related to him because like I sat there and was like, they brought me here because he did something similar to me. So naturally, like I was like, I get where he's at. And I think he, said like, hey, I'm sorry, and handled it and didn't try to like, over explain himself. And I'm like, that's the best you can do. But I understand where she's coming from too. It's like, nothing she did was wrong. I kind of felt similar to him. Like I was like, wow, I'm sitting in the audience, but I was like, I almost feel like I'm in like back on the hot seat,
Yeah.
watching like me from 3 years ago, and so it was just a weird moment. But
I feel like in that situation, what we got to see with you a little bit more that we didn't get the chance to see in Grant and Latia's conversation, this could have just been due to timing. I mean, it's so short, is I was waiting for them to address the why with Grant and Latia. Like, why did you do this? Why did you say this? And I feel like, again, it very well could have just been like, it's a short conversation and you don't get there. And that's a bigger, deeper conversation. But I do feel like we got more of that with you. Like, you were always keen to say, like, I did this, and like expand on like, this is why I thought that was a good idea at the time.
Yeah, I mean, again, like that's why unless you're Grant or Latia, like you don't really know what was all said. So it's like this, he says this, she says this, and some in the middle's the reality and the truth. But again, like the truth is also dependent upon like it's skewed by perspective, and so we can only judge based off what we hear and see in that moment. So ultimately, I'm like, I don't see one of them as right or one of them as wrong. It just yeah, it's like we don't know, like there could be one bit of context that if added would completely sway my opinion. Like I say that I associated or associated more with Grant, but like had an additional piece of information been put out there where it's like, he is on camera saying this exact thing that, it's like, oh, okay, well now I'm over on team Latia, right? Like it could switch that quickly. So it's
do you get anxiety going to the finales? You have to have a little bit, just like of bodily response being back in that room at that time with the finale. I don't know. I feel like whenever I watch like certain episodes of the show, I feel a type of way. Like whenever I watch Hometowns every season, I feel like a little type of way.
Yeah, I actually Susie was at the finale sitting right in front of me. And I like between the breaks, I leaned forward and I was like, yeah, this is bringing up some old feelings. I was like, this isn't really fun anymore. Like it got to the point where it was so tense at the finale that I was just like, yeah, I'm starting to feel triggered a bit. And like not enough where I was like, I need to walk out of here, but I was just like, ugh, like I got this pit in my stomach where I'm like, I don't like seeing, basically it's like pick a side. And I'm like, no, both people did some things right and did some things wrong. And probably, they could share the blame, but unfortunately, it makes sense from a show perspective to like have people choose sides because that fosters conversation. It's like we don't want it to be like, oh, everyone's equally at blame and that's it. No, like they want people to be things to be sparked, and so like that's what's happening right now. I mean, we're looking at the post show. I've seen like clips and stuff of they're asking now what Grant thinks about Latia's response and vice versa, and it's like here comes like the really them hammering down, and I'm like, okay, you can choose to like stand firm on your side. This is what keeps people talking, and that's ultimately what the show wants, and I get it. So it's like hard because you're just like, I want us all to be friends, but I don't think that can happen.
What was it like seeing Susie?
Her and I have like seen each other so many times since the show, and have had conversations on the phone. Like there wasn't like I hadn't seen her in 3 years. I think I saw her, I think 6 months prior to that point. We did a podcast together. To me, like she's an old friend, or she's still a friend, but I ultimately know that like, we tried to make it work, and then ultimately it's just like, hey, we're not compatible. So now, I mean, she's one of the few people that knows more than most people know, because I told her everything. She lived it with me. So there's a lot of things that are unsaid where I can just spark up a conversation with her and she gets it. So it's always great to see her. And it's like a friend that you're like, oh, hey, like you get it. So I'm always happy to see her. But there's no like chance of that ever rekindling. At least I don't think so. It would be a surprise.
I will say though, in you said like it reminded you of like your situation of kind of being like kicked when you're down, but I think from like Latia's point of view, she's probably looking at Grant like you kind of have everything right now. Like you're in a happy relationship, you're engaged, you might be getting a little bit of backlash, but like I I was planning on like I wanted to marry you and potentially have kids with you, and you led me on this whole way. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to kick you even if you are down. And I think your situation is a little different because like you got a lot of hate. Like you got like way too much hate.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of it where I don't think Grant really did. Like there's definitely some people that are like pro Latia, but I just don't think it's the same as in your case. Like you like the internet. And I don't want to like bring up old feelings or anything, but I feel like the internet, like they kind of like went after you like from the fucking jump.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they did. And unfortunately, it was like we're looking for a reason to hate this guy. And it went all the way back to, I was chosen over 6 men of color. And that was already tense. People were already like, why did you choose this guy over them? And I thought the same thing. I'm like, they're all deserving. I accepted the role though, but I was already at a deficit, at that point. That was a, thing that I saw online quite a bit. And then once I actually, gave them something to dislike, it was like, there it is. We knew this guy was a piece of shit. And so they basically just leveled into me, and it was like, let's cancel this guy. I mean, that's seriously like, it was just like at any, people were just looking to have an excuse. And I mean, the messages that I got, the hate messages, the kill yourself comments, I mean, I got them by the thousands, and it was, it was just a lot. But, go back to, yeah, I mean, again, you have to understand, I didn't watch the season. So like, I didn't see the context. So like Latia, I'm not saying I think going off of one episode live, I felt the feeling of being in the hot seat like Grant was, and really related to that. And was like, okay, I get it. Like he said some stuff, and he apparently said these things that are off camera that weren't shared. And like he's happy with somebody right now, but like instead it's like you're almost sowing seeds of doubt into the mind of the person that he's with, which like I don't like that. It's like he's found somebody, but to your point, it's like, he's basically on top of the world and has his person, and she's left in second place with nothing, right? Like, and so it's like, could she, she's like, hey, you got everything, and ultimately got to do what you did and still come out victorious, and I basically get kicked to the curb. I'm sure, I mean, again, that's probably what it feels like. So, is it justified? I mean, could be. Yeah. Again, I don't like, I just can only go off of like that one, episode. So I certainly don't like, I don't want people to think that I'm like, oh, it was wrong. I just am saying I related to like how he felt in that moment. And I was like, okay, like I get it, but like he's happy now. Like I don't think you need to keep sowing these seeds of doubt in Juliana's mind, because now what happens when she's like, wait, if she wasn't aware of this, now she might end up breaking up with the guy, and he's already struggling. I mean, he was struggling with a lot of the criticism online. So I was like, this guy, like, I don't want to see him go to a place that I went to.
Yeah.
So it was more out of like me, I was more like in a protective state where I'm like,
Yeah, I get that.
stop, like, don't keep trying to bury him. This guy's clearly struggling. I mean, I can see his post online. He struggles with the criticism, and rightfully so. I mean, like, I get it just the same way I did. But I'm like, I can tell he's really hurting. I'm like, just like, don't do this to him, because if you tear him down and then, like, God forbid, you get Juliana to like leave him, he's gonna be in a really bad place. And I'm like, I don't want to see that. So like, just he's learned, like, can we just move on? Like, that's kind of where it was at. I was like, I didn't like that. I felt like she was shoving him down deeper into a place where it's like, you're gonna put him into a bad valley. But again, like, nobody really knows like how badly someone's hurting until they're in their own mind. I just felt like I was like, oh, I can see Grant's already hurting. I don't want this to get worse.
Yeah. It makes sense. And I think you could sympathize with both both people, and
Yeah.
especially you because you were in that situation. So yeah,
Yeah.
I get that.
You obviously have, had a changed mindset about your time on the show. But naturally, there's still going to be elements that are and maybe always will be hard to look back on or still triggering at this time.
People are gonna listen to this podcast and be like, they're gonna pull one thing you said and be like, we still hate you.
Don't say that. Oh
Oh,
my
no, they aren't. No, they're
God.
gonna pull that first section of me saying I didn't agree with it was dead or whatever.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, "How dare he?" I already know it's gonna come.
Typical Clayton.
They're not gonna listen to the back half of this conversation. I guarantee you they'll take that clip and it'll find its way on Reddit because that's the place where I'm like, that's where they'll go. And so I'm like, go for it. They will clip that one part and be like, see, he hasn't learned. I don't give a shit. But like they will, 1,000%. I mean, again, every time I hop on a camera, it's like they're just gonna clip whatever they want to, get someone riled up.
I hate that. But with that being said, would you ever consider going on Paradise within like something again within the franchise or any other dating shows?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I got to a place where I'm just like, hey, I don't want to live a normal life. And I haven't really at this point so far. So I was like, I want to just look back at the end of it all. It's like when people lay on their deathbeds, it's like, what are their biggest regrets? They're like, I wish I'd have taken more risk and I wish I would have cared less what people thought. So I'm like, okay, like that's a great life lesson. If that's what's being said by the majority of people, I never want to get to that place and be one of them. So I'm going to do everything that I can so that when I lay on my deathbed, neither of those things come out of my mouth. And I feel like I've gotten to a place where I don't care about strangers' criticism anymore. So I'm like, okay, cool, you have that. And now live a life with no regrets. And so that way you're not going to be like, I wish I'd have did more. I'm like, no, I'm going to do more so I don't have to, look back and be one of those people. So yeah, I would do it. I mean, yeah,
Well, so we might see you on another dating show in the future, maybe Paradise.
it's possible, man. Anything is possible. I always have some surprises up my sleeve.
I do like, and I know it's like live life with no regrets is like kind of a cliche, but like also like I truly believe that is how you should live life. And I also don't, I think like people say like I live with no regrets, but most people like don't do it. Or if they do it, it's they maybe do it to like a 30% max, where like if you really live with no regrets, that's the way to live.
Is that what's inspired, like, for example, your dancing? Like, was that the mentality shift that kind of inspired you to start trying new things?
Yeah, I got to a place where I said, if you stop caring about people's opinions, what would you do? And I was like, well, dancing. I've always wanted to dance. I think, like I love women that can dance. I think it's so attractive. And it's a very vulnerable place to be, to put your, body out there and move your body. Like it's one of the most vulnerable things you can do, in my opinion. So for me, it was like a challenge. I thought, hey, like I'll do this. And then I was shocked at what it did to my confidence and my overall self-love. I mean, dance has changed my life, like legitimately changed my life. I've found a newer sense of style, a greater appreciation for the creative arts. I found a community within that, they're open-minded. Dancers are like super open-minded and super positive. They're just like happy that you're doing their passion, and like I got dancers that are like 10 times, a million times better than me. And they are the biggest hype men and women because they're just so happy that someone else is partaking in their favorite, passion. And so there's so much love and just connection and support that I'm like, these are the kind of people that, fill my cup. And that's why I go there 4 times a week now. I love being a part of it. My dance instructor is super awesome. She's, been my therapist at times. Like sometimes we'll just be dancing and half the time I'll be talking. I won't even dance. Because it's like movement therapy. And so it really was a form of therapy. So yeah, like that certainly was, dancing for me was like, what's something that I can do that is really hard, but that like I can, challenge myself to do just to see if I can do it. And dance became that avenue. And then, I started getting really great feedback online from people. And again, I get a lot of blowback still. I mean, I'm not, I don't think I'm the best dancer. I'm very aware. I think people are like, does he think he's good? I'm like, I know how good of a dancer I am. Like, I'm not, I can see, the best dancers out there, and then I can see my videos, and I'm not like, oh, we're close, like it's not, no, like it's like these people that have dedicated their lives to it, they're way better. I'm a stiff dancer. I also see I get more shares than likes. I'm like, I know why you're sharing it. You're sending it to your friends to make fun of me. That's fine. But like, I also look at it as if like, well, hopefully one day you all will see when 3 years from now I'm still dancing, and I'll be good, because I'm like, at some point I'm going to get there where it's like, oh, he's good. And then they're going to be like, damn, I've just made fun of this guy for the last 4 years and haven't, progressed in life. And he's over here actually good, really good now. Maybe I should stop caring about what people think. Cause maybe like if I just kept doing things without worrying about people's opinions, I could see similar success. So I'm like, that's not why I'm dancing fully, but that's why I'm documenting a lot of it. Cause I want people to see like, hey, every amateur or expert was once an amateur. You got to start somewhere. And if you just block out the noise, eventually, you can get to where you want to go. And I want people to just not be fearful and like, oh, he did it, so I can do it. So I'm like, oh, you can see all my videos, like from the very beginning. I'm not taking them down. From the first dance video I did, it's like, look at the progression. Like, and it took time. It's for me, people like, that's as far as you've gotten in 2 years. I'm like, great, that's good if that's what you think. Because maybe it'll take me 5 years. But the point is if you see me 5 years later and I'm actually decent, it's like, well, hey, that should go to show you that maybe you should stop listening to random people's opinions and just go do it. And it might not, change overnight, but maybe 5 years from now you'll get some success. So I guess in a way I'm like, that's why I'm, documenting it. I'm like, this is what social media allows me to do, is like put it out there to show people like, hey, once you get over the fear of failure and the fear of, judgment, you can do some pretty cool things.
Damn, this
But I
guy's
also-
motivating me right now. Jesus Christ.
Wait, I expect you to start dancing, but
did you struggle at all putting up that first video? Because like you said, it is like, it's a vulnerable, like, I would be very, like, I would feel embarrassed. Like I would be like, can I put this on the internet? What if I put in, I know people are going to talk shit. Like, was that a struggle?
Oh yeah. Oh, I remember I hit the first, like right before I posted, I got like this, like, I got like this feeling where I was like, oh, my stomach dropped, and I was like, I don't know if I should post this, but really in that moment, I was so proud and like happy with the video. I mean, I look back at it now, and all I was doing like this little like two-step. It was so simple, but in the moment, I was so overjoyed by the fact that like I was like, I look good. I'm on beat. I got rhythm, and so I just like like that excitement trumped that fear for just a split second. Then I posted it, and it actually, the first video I think was met with like a fair amount of support, much more support than like my videos after that got. At first, people were like, "Oh, this is cool," and then they're like, "All right, man, like learn to give it up. You got 2 left feet." So like it was the first video had support, but then it was like, all right, like, dude, figure it out. You're not good. So it was. I mean, I think it would have been interesting if I'd have got like negative blowback at first.
What would that have done?
Yeah, I mean, somebody that I heard was, started dancing and apparently stopped because of the criticism. I was Pilot Pete. I guess he was dancing on TikTok, and people were apparently tearing into him. I guess I don't know if that's why he stopped, but I mean, apparently people were ruthless on his TikTok, and I'm like, yeah, it's hard. Like, it's hard to like, because you're like, why am I subjecting myself to this? So, yeah, if I had negative reception off the first video, I don't know. I would like to think I would have still pushed through, but
you never know.
I also think it's like, I just think that it's a reflection on like a societal mentality of like, you shouldn't be doing things that you're not great at just because you like them. Like, if you're not great at something, or you're not in 6 months great at dancing, like, why are you still doing this? And I think that's a reflection of like, honestly, just like the culture right now, and just like people's mentality of themselves of like, well, I would never do that because like I'm not amazing at it. And I think the reason you're getting so much like positive feedback from dancers is the dance community has like an understanding that like dance is never going to be perfect, and it's not about perfection, and it is about process. And there is such a positive mentality around like the work that goes into it versus, I mean, unless you're, like a prima ballerina, like the final product, and even the final product, you're never going to like find perfection, but you can find like joy and happiness and movement, and it can all be so therapeutic. I personally love, and I think you can be like this too at times, adults specifically that will try things and not be embarrassed to not be great at them. Like, I feel like that's so hard. Like, I struggle to do things knowing I'm not going to be great at them just to enjoy them or to learn to get better at something.
Well, I've accepted the fact that everything that I try that's new, I'm terrible at. Like I'm beyond bad at.
But you're comfortable being like, I'm not like when like for swimming, for example, like
Yeah.
when we got together, you're not the strongest swimmer, but you're like, I'm down to like be kind of bad at this for a while to eventually get good at it. And I actually just like enjoy swimming. And the more I get better, the more I enjoy it.
Well, that's what also why I enjoyed being on Dancing with the Stars, and I got a ton of hate, which I didn't even realize because I was just like, people love me. I was just like, I'm the most popular man in the world. No, but I got a ton of hate because I was so bad at dancing. But I was like, well, no shit, I'm fucking bad. Like, are you kidding me? I'm from Melrose Park. I've never danced a day in my life. I'm going up against real dancers. Suck my dick. Like, I know I'm bad. But like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of, but that's always been my mentality is like, I'm usually going to go into this and I'm not going to be good. But if I truly enjoy doing it, which I could be better at, like sticking with things, because I will like eventually be like, all right, I'm done doing that. Like, I'm just not like, I'm really trying to stick with golf because I'm really bad at it, but I'm slowly getting better. But it's probably going to take me like another couple of years to even like be shooting close to the 80s. But
yeah, well, that's a hard sport, man. I played Top Golf over the weekend, and like my first 10 swings, driving them straight. I'm like, and then after that, I started to loosen up, and then everything started going left and right. And I was like, this is such an agitating sport. But yeah, I mean, you guys are right. There's a culture that it's like when kids do it, it's endearing. Like, and even if they suck at dancing or whatever by societal standards, it's like, oh, he's 7. Like, what do you expect? But then all of a sudden, when you're 30, they're like, oh, go back to work. What are you doing? And again, like, I'm grateful that other people, what convinced me to dance was I was actually taking an online dance class in COVID. And I got, after like the first week, they started doing the arm wave and stuff. And I'm like, I can't do this. And I got agitated. So I quit. But what got me to even buy the course was there was a testimonial of this 50-year-old man that was like, he documented his journey in his first day of dancing, and he looked like a first day dancer. But then after a year and a half of doing it every day, he had his video within this like 2-minute video where it's like, here I am now. And he was good. And I was like, this guy's 50 and that's incredible. Like, and then I was like, it's never too late to start something. So on day 1, it looked cringy, sure, but by day, like 400, it was like, whoa, dude, you got some serious moves. And so I was like, again, it's like the society looks at it like, oh yeah, like at some point there's an expiration date on when it's okay to try something new. And I'm like, that's the problem with society, is like people get to a place where they're just like, at some point you need to figure it out in life. It's like you're 30 years old. You should know what you want to do with your life. And it's like, no, that's what most people tell you. Like there's this like societal standard of go to college, get a job, and then work that job until you basically retire. That was the environment I grew up in. It's like, get your job and then that you basically work there for 30 years and retire. And it's like, that's one way to do life. Or you can like continue to keep, trying new things. And then maybe you're a jack of all trades, master of none, but that's actually a blessing. It's like, once you start to do all these different things, you start to actually become more diversified and have a better understanding of the world. So I'm like, yeah, I think it's a good thing, Joe, that you're like, hey, well, maybe I don't want to stick with, golf. It's like, you don't have to, maybe like you pick up a new hobby in 6 months, and there's nothing wrong with like basically letting go of something after 3 to 6 months. Maybe that's what you're just meant to do, is like, I'm going to give this a shot, and maybe I only need to know the basics for this. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a matter of like, do you stop something because of the criticism? Then it's a problem. But if you're just stopping it because you're like, I'm losing interest in this, then so be it. Like I'm doing classes right now just because I saw something online that said anybody can sing. And I was like, anybody can sing? Like, you're telling me I can sound like, the next country artist? All right, I'll try it. And it's not really coming together. So,
well, how long has it been?
I've been doing it once a week for the last like month and a half. So it's not,
okay.
Yeah. So I haven't been doing it for long, but I think I'm like, okay, maybe everybody can hold a tune, but not everyone's going to sound, like Chris Stapleton. So I think like now I was like, okay, cool. But like, until I tried it, I was like, I would hate to find out 7 years from now that all of a sudden I had this voice of an angel and I didn't like, pursue it. I love singing. So I sing all the time in my house, and so so I'm like, sure, I'm gonna give it a shot, but I'm almost at the point where I'm like, oh, I may let it go here soon, because I was like, yeah, I just don't have that, right? Like I sound okay, but I'm not meant to be a singer and whatever. But at least I tried it, so now I know.
Yeah, I think there's certain things that like you kind of have to be like naturally like, gifted, like a voice. Like there's like, I know like I could take singing lessons and like you said, maybe hold a tune, but like I know it's not gonna sound good. Like even when like like people like I think they like to hear themselves sing in the shower because I feel like you sound the best in the shower. But
Yeah,
even in the
it's the
shower, I'm like,
acoustic.
this is horrible. But like, but I but I
But
still
maybe
do it. I still sing.
again, yeah. I mean, yeah, the shower is a big tricker because I think that's what ultimately got. I was like, a couple times in the shower, I was like, there might be something.
Damn.
There might be.
You're like, I sound amazing.
I think you're America's best kept secret right now. Like you might take this beyond the shower walls. Yeah, I mean,
what how's your you have a podcast? You want to tell us about that?
Yeah.
yeah, it's called Beyond the Cover, and it's meant to have be there for people to share their stories of overcoming adversity. So at first it started off with me wanting to interview men because I was like, hey, I'm a man, so I want to speak with other men so that we can like get this out there because not enough men are talking, speaking up. Actually then started having trouble trying to find men to open up. Most men naturally don't want to because they're fearful like they'll be seen as less than. And so I then was like, yeah, but I also don't, I want this to be inclusive. And so I started, bringing in women to have discussions and had awesome conversations and helped me learn more things. And I was like, okay, cool. So and then it went from like being people that have influence to like, I just want to bring on people that anyone that's got a compelling story. So I enjoy it. I don't think again, like I was like, I don't think I'm meant to be a podcaster long term. I mean, if I am, then like it'll just manifest. But I'm like, I'm gonna do this until I don't, so it's cool. And I enjoy it because I like talking to people and learning about them and just get to throw a camera in front of me while I do it. And hopefully it, impacts other people, which I've gotten DMs saying it has. So that's cool.
Are you still like in the Airbnb space? I know you were doing that for a little bit, real estate and all that.
Yeah, yeah. My Airbnb is a top 1% in Scottsdale. It kills it. So
Wow. Congrats. It's
Well,
amazing.
and
yeah,
also like I think Scottsdale's going to keep growing because you see that company Taiwan Semiconductor is like bringing like $200 billion in the state of Arizona.
yeah, Apple, I think, made a big investment in them, and so yeah, they're talking about the next Silicon Valley. It's up in North Phoenix, but no, it's not going to slow down at all. Like the growth of Scottsdale, the people that live here, like, hey, it's just beginning. It's not even at its peak. So real estate wise, it's great. It's expensive now, but yeah, like the Airbnb kills it. I mean, I'm really grateful for that. It's a good revenue stream, and then I do I'm a real estate advisor, and I also do solar panel sales, which this is a very sunny state, so it's pretty easy to sell solar panels. And yeah, like my life has been the most normal it's been in 3 years. I mean, this is the most irrelevant that I've been, but like I don't say that in a bad way. It's just like I've been off the grid, no one's really, I've gotten back to a sense of normalcy. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I
Does
know.
that feel good?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it does. I think, again, there's always that itch to be like, wow, I'd love to like, test the waters again, like and put this version of me out there and see what happens.
Mhm.
So again, that's why when you ask like would I go on another show, it's like sure, like because this version of me is different from the last version people saw, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, it was fun. It's fun to like go on these shows and meet people and be like, are we really doing this? Like how many times I sat down with the guys and be like, or even the girls on my on The Bachelor and was like, this is real life. Like taking a helicopter, landing it on a yacht, then jumping off the yacht, or being in Iceland and dune bugging on the black sand beaches, or going into an inactive volcano. I was like, I never traveled in my life. Now I'm doing all these things, and it's nice when it's free too. You're like, I'm not paying for this, so I can eat all the crab legs I want and do all these extravagant things. Yeah, I mean it's fun, and so it's just I enjoy living a normal life now, but I wouldn't mind, popping back up and doing some crazy stuff.
Do you ever have girls hit on you through Airbnb? Because you're open about like, hey, this is my property.
Yeah, actually, so like 85% of people that book my Airbnb don't know who I am.
Okay.
Good because like then it's like it means my Airbnb is sufficient. They're
Yeah.
Yeah.
separate from me being the Bachelor. But never like hit on. No,
Okay.
I just people being like, hey, can you come take a picture?
Oh,
Or
okay.
a couple times I've had people be like, hey, this is broken, or we can't find this, and I find it feels like they're just trying to get me to show up, and like I'm like, oh, it's over there. They're like, oh, great, also this. And so like I'll go over there though. It's fun, like to talk to people and just get to know them. But by the end of it, people are like, you're just a normal dude. So no, most times like I'm not like fresh off the show. I think when I was fresh off, people are almost starstruck. You're the shiny object. Now it's just like it's just Clayton. So now I don't really get like like people are pretty respectful. They might be like, oh, hey, I watched your season. Like I get those messages up through Airbnb a bunch.
I'm assuming because we've been chatting about you potentially going back on reality TV or doing a dating show that you're single, but how has dating life been?
Great. It's been a lot of fun because again, like this version of me is like attracting, the type of woman that I have always wanted to like be attracted to me. So I feel like I'm attracting very open-minded and art, very creative women. And like I'm just having a blast. Like I really like enjoy it. Yeah, I mean, I've been happy. Like,
And having like a fake baby, right? Like, what was that? That was insane. Congrats on
yeah,
you won that court case, correct?
yeah, but she's still trying to. She continues to try to appeal, which is
No.
yeah. Like you can go. She's trying to take it to the Arizona Supreme Court now, and then if that doesn't work, they're going to take it to the United States Supreme Court. It's like, hey, take a
At
hint.
this point, you're like, you could have had she could have had two babies in the amount of time that this has been going on.
She just can't admit fault. So, it's agitating because I'm like, my lawyers, I'm like, guys, like, I don't want them to keep working on it. I want us to move on, right? Like
Yeah.
anybody
It's
in their
money out of
right
your
mind.
pocket too.
But it's like, yeah, that's like we keep spending money and keep doing this and spending time. And I'm like, I don't want to I'm like, I just want this to be done with. But I'm dealing with somebody that doesn't think normally. And so we're going to exhaust all options. So that affected me for a bit where I obviously was like very nervous to like interact because I was like, what happens if I go on a date with another girl? And like she decides to go crazy on me because this girl wasn't crazy until she was like she was so normal until she wasn't until she snapped. So that affected me at one point, but now I'm just like, if I catch another crazy one, then so be it. Like it's
also like, what are the odds, knock on wood, that this happens to you twice? Like maybe
yeah.
this was your one. And
if this happens to you again, then I mean,
At some point you start to wonder. You're like,
it's got to be you. At
yeah,
this
you're
point.
like,
you're
there's a common
attracting
denominator.
something.
Yeah, I'm like Clayton, you got some bad karma, and I at this point I'm like, I think I burnt most of it off, but who knows? I mean, if it comes back again, I'm just like, yeah, you might need to look in the mirror a couple more times and really figure out what's going on here.
Well, I think you'll be able to figure it out either way. I'm very happy for you, for real. Like you seem to be in a great place, and this was I really enjoyed this conversation. I feel like I'm actually taking something away from this. So yeah, thank you so much for taking the time and hopping on Bachelor Happy Hour.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me. This was awesome. I really appreciate both of you.
Of course. And to our listeners, thank you for listening to Bachelor Happy Hour. Make sure you download and subscribe.
We have more exclusive interviews coming your way every single week. And thank you for listening. Bye.